Right, I'm back, and now we're going to be continuing on timer stuff. So I'm going to do something a little bit more fancy, I guess. So what we're going to do is we're going to, just for the demonstration purposes, I'm going to use a timer to trigger a destruction sequence after a certain amount of time. I want to pass in a parameter, which I'm going to call, like, scale, and this will determine the scale of the explosion effect. So these are actors, right? So what we're going to do is first we're going to need a particle effect, so just copy that. Class U particle system, I believe, not emitter, not sure, I think it's a system. We'll call it explosion effect. Right, so as explosion effect, we'll need one of these T array, which is the way Unreal does arrays. Class A actor pointer actors to destroy. Right, so that's the array that we're going to be filling. So this we're going to be filling in the editor. That we're going to add to the editor. And so what to destroy? You can make the timer locally. We need a function. You function void activate destruction sequence with a float scale. Right, so now if we close these because we don't need these anymore. Right, so void a tutorials character activate destruction sequence float. I think I call it float scale, right? Yep. Okay, so float scale, and then how am I going to trigger this is a real question. We need another one. Right, so we'll begin destruction sequence, that's not a parameter, and we'll make this a new function, and this one is going to be the input. So when I press, I don't know, what should we bind it to? Right mouse button, iterate over array and explode them at different sizes. Yeah. So right, there's that. Now we need to begin destruction sequence. So void a tutorials character begin destruction sequence, and right, so this one. Right, what we need, okay, stuff. So let's get this guy, and we'll just set this up now. It's an action. So bind action timer delegate. I pressed this begin destruction sequence. Right, so as soon as I press timer delegate, which we'll do now, input action mappings plus timer delegate right mouse button. So right mouse button is now configured to trigger this event. Yes. Begin destruction sequence. So this, now I need a timer handle. We'll just call it timer because it's local. We need a timer delegate, which will be timer delegate. And now you bind the U function, similar to how the input stuff does it. So this fname, this will be the name of the guy. I don't need to say activate destruction sequence, and then you need to pass in your parameter. So what we need is float random scale equals fmath rand range between 0.0f and 5.0f. Actually, 1 to 5, because we don't want it to not spawn something. Random scale. So now it will call this function passing in a randomness of a scale, and then all we need to do left is get the world again. Right. So world get time manager, much like last time, but the difference is you pass in. Oh, what is this doing? You pass in the timer, followed by the delegate, followed by the time you want to trigger it in. So we'll start a destruction sequence in 3 seconds after we've started it, and then the loop to false. So I only want to start destroying once. Yeah. So once that registers, too many arguments in function call. Oh yeah, it's because I'm derping here. Set timer. Yeah. Okay. So handle delegate. So this is, instead of doing let's have it somewhere. This. So timer, this, function to call, rate, loop. Timer, delegate, rate, loop. Or delay, rate. Kind of the same thing, isn't it? So you don't have a call to yourself, and you don't have a call to the function, because that is all being done within here. This function name, just with a parameter on top. That's literally the difference, right? So you call this, which is the bound thing, instead of binding your own. That is the delegate in a nutshell, and it's quite simple, I think. You just have to get familiar with typing all this up. Okay, so begin destruction sequence will run this guy, and what it will do is make a for loop. Yep, and then what do I call them? Actors to destroy. It's just a random error when you double tap the for. Just trolling. Anyway, dot num. Actually, let's do this properly, shall we? So if the array is empty, stop right there. If it's not, go through the array and pop them all off. So basically what you want to do is what do we want to do? We'll make our little helper function. This is private here, so void play explosion effect float scale. Right, so just make this little utility function down here. So void a tutorial character play explosion effect at float scale. And what this does is if explosion effect is if it exists, you gameplay static spawn emitter at location explosion effect we need to pass in the thing as well. And then location, so we're going to need a const effect. Yep, so you need to pass in where you want to play this, basically. Okay. And that's good, that looks good to me. So that'll spawn it at the location, and then all you need to do is make this, store it into a reference variable. So once it's spawned a uparticle, come on, tell me. Fine. Show me. You know what, it'd be faster just to... Oh my goodness gracious me, I'll just figure it out. U particle... What? U particle system... Ah, that was correct. So if it created one successfully, set scale 3D to scale. Oh wait, no, that won't work. You need to do F vector underscore scale, and that just maps that that number to the whole XYZ, right? So your 3D scale will be free, be like instead of whatever. So this should work, okay? So now what we can do is we're going through the array of actors at the length, and then what you want to do is if actors to destroy at I get it's not null. We'll just make it hidden, just for the time being. But we'll also play explosion effect at scale. Scale and actors to destroy get actor location. Okay, and now technically that should pop all the actors in the array at the same time with different sized explosions. Okay, so what did I find? Right mouse, right? And it's a right mouse, trigger this in 3 seconds, and then all the things explode. Okay? This is an example of using the delegate, and provided I've typed it up correctly, it should work like a charm. Okay. Compiling. Perfect. Now we just need to go into the blueprint. I mean, normally you wouldn't store this sort of data in here, but just for the demonstration purposes, you can. You'd have like a destruct manager or something that contains a reference to everything, but for this, it's actually fine. Question is, can I actually do it in here, or do I have to do it in here? Custom. Right, so get editor cube 8, 9, 11, 10. It's 8 to 11. 8, 9, 10, 11. So, provided all is well, there wasn't anything else I needed to set, was there? No. So as soon as I press the right trigger, they should all explode in 3 seconds. Oh, although it wasn't very random, was it? Did it not work? Hold on. We'll know for sure in a minute. I've also made it a bit more strong, so you'd be able to tell if the particle effect went off correctly. Although the functionality worked, right? It just didn't do the scale bit as I wanted quite. Okay, so try that again. Press right click now. 3 seconds, so... oh yeah, it worked. Maybe, actually no, wait. You know why? It's because it needs to generate like a random one each time. So... like, this will generate a random size, but it'll use the same size for each one. So what you need to do, let's try and figure this out, shall we? Activate destruction sequence. You know what we can do? We can do int modifier. This is probably like not the best implementation, but it'll work. I'm sure you can be more creative and make something cooler with this, but this is just to show the delegate system works. So let's get a random range between float modifier equals fmath rand range between 0.5f to 2.5 2.5f and then you can do scale times modifier. That will create some variety in this. I mean, if I had more time to think about this, I'd come up with a system where you could detonate them one at a time, so go sort of like a chain reaction, which you could definitely do with this. It just take a bit more typing. Yeah, there's your exercise, I guess. Use this sort of stuff to make that happen. It shouldn't be too much for change, but so if I right click, there you go. You could see that was different. Hey, there we go. Nice. Right, so delegates. Brief recap. It's literally just this. Create a handle. It can be local because you don't need to clear it at a later date. Delegate, which is f-time and delegate instead of handle. Get your scale. Bind delegate bind you function. Where you're calling a function from. Name of function you're calling. Parameter you're passing in. You can do comma and more parameters, just so you know. So you can do another comma there, and another parameter, and then it would do 2. The only thing is this has to match how many parameters it actually has, otherwise it'll probably throw a tantrum at you. Use world, timer manager, set timer, and then oh god. This syntax here is the only, well, one of the differences. So you got, so like I said, pass in a delegate instead of this and function name. Okay. Right. Nice and simple, I think. I hope that helped. Till next time.